Hey, ladies and gentlemen, excuse me. If you ain't drink no water yet for the day, I'm gonna start this off before we get into what I gotta say by saying, yo, go ingest some water. Excuse me. Go ingest some water. Don't care what you're doing. Get up and go ingest some water. Excuse me. Now, I don't know if this is good news or bad news as of right now. We're going to read into the article. We're going to see what's going on, what's being talked about, and then we'll go from there. Because NEXUS Mods, I know, has been a community-driven website for a very long time, and there may be a reasonable explanation as to why dude sold it. We'll read on and see. Because even right now, I mean, y'all can't see it on my second monitor. Let me open it up, my applet. Where is it? Is it in there? There? No. Okay, let me search it up on my application list where y'all can see it. I have the Vortex NEXUS mod application installed. Now, I tried to use it for multiverses, but it didn't work. But I'm gonna see what other games I can use it for. But as someone who has NEXUS Mods software installed on my computer, this kind of interests me, because if y'all are not familiar, whenever corporations step in to stuff like this, the first thing a corporation asks about anything is, but how does it make money? And usually that ruins things. Sometimes that improves things and puts in options that people wanted for a long time, even if it is behind a paywall. But let's see. I want to read it and let's see what they talk about. Robin Dark One Scott began NEXUS Mods before Steam in 2001 in his bedroom with a 56 kilobyte modem. The game that inspired him to start the site was Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind. Remember when there was more than one Elder Scrolls being released a decade? I don't think any of the 2010s had a new Elder Scrolls. Let me see. Search Elder Scrolls. What was the last one? Yeah, 6. I think that was Skyrim. When did it release? Elder Scrolls 6 release date. Oh, that's the upcoming one. What's the Elder Scrolls 5 release date then? 2011. Okay, so it's the only one that released in the 2010s. That's so early in the 2010s. It's basically a 2000s game, but I'll give you that by technicality. But it's been what, 2011, and then add 4 years on that. That's 14 years since the last Elder Scrolls game came out. It's, now that I think about it, that's a weird phenomenon that we're seeing more and more in gaming. Like, games will get to a certain entry number, and instead of making a new entry, they'll just keep re-releasing the same fucking entry to the point to where they're dropping a remaster for the latest game in their franchise. Like, that sentence don't sound crazy? The last game you dropped got remastered before you dropped a new entry. You're not supposed to remaster a game till 10, 12 years down the line. Oh, wait, it has been 10, 12 years. Well, you're not supposed to remaster a game till like 2 games down the line. Their last game was the game they remastered recently. And people are eating that shit up like dinner time. Like a bowl of cereal during a Saturday morning cartoon while you drone out and make some core memories that you gonna remember for the rest of their life. They just sitting there drinking out the Skyrim pot. Nothing new is coming out that. Never. Same thing with Grand Theft Auto 5. And in my rant about PS4 players, I should have mentioned y'all too. Grand Theft Auto niggas, y'all not safe. Y'all been playing the same game since 2013. That's why GTA 6 not coming out. Get off GTA 5. Watch how quick GTA 6 release. But that's another conversation. Excuse me. But he never wanted to make a business out of it. Fair. Nobody usually does when they're actually like truly dedicated to something as a side project and they just so happen to start making money out of it. I just wanted to make a place where modders could share their work without worrying it would vanish into the internet. It's safe to say that mission is accomplished in that regard for Scott. Yeah, because even right now, like even with this sale going on, the reason why the sale of NEXUS mod happening is big is because if you're into the modding scene, there's basically 2 websites you go to for mods of any video game, whether it be anything from Super Smash Bros. 2 to Cyberpunk. You either go to Game Banana or you go to Nexus Mods. And a lot of people for like larger AAA games go to Nexus Mods because like Game Banana has more like indie games, smaller game mods, and Nexus Mods. Game Banana has more smaller indie game type game mods, and Nexus Mods, I'm trying to say the right names, has more like AAA stuff and like frame rate fixes and stuff like that, like those kind of mods. But he never wanted to blah 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 blah. And yeah, that is one thing. If you don't like archive your stuff, it kind of gets sent into the ether. And I feel like with this change and leadership, that's going to happen. The leadership might snap their fingers and say, if you want to keep your mods on this website, you got to pay X amount of money to keep it up there. And a lot of mods are going to go into the ether. But again, I'm just speculating. I'm just pulling stuff from in between my ass cheeks. That's not really what, you know, that's not really what happened. Nobody said that. But that's usually the type of stuff that happens. It's safe to say that mission, blah, blah, blah. However, after, damn, this shit is the same age as me. After 4 plus 20 years, Scott is stepping down and the website's ownership will be changing hands. He says that the stress of the site has become too much and he's been burning out and sees it impacting both his staff and Nexus Mods as a whole. What are those impacts though? Okay, and the strain of being responsible for the behemoth that creative has taken its toll. Yeah, because like Nexus Mods has had a few controversies recently. Not nothing crazy. What are you doing, brother? Anyway, has had a few controversies recently where, for example, in Marvel Rivals, there were people uploading mods for Captain America that was replacing it with Joe Biden, his head, with Joe Biden's head and Donald Trump's head. And like both of those mods got taken off of the website because he was like, hey, no political related mods. And people keep uploading stuff like that. Like people uploading Torta mods, people uploading mods that remove like LGBTQAI plus. No wait, it's more stuff. LGBTQAI 2S plus, which after LGBTQ, I don't know why the fuck you kept adding letters. That's what the plus was for. But that's a whole different conversation. LGBT, people removing LGBTAIQ 2S plus content out of video games. And those types of mods and stuff were taken off the site and people were claiming censorship. But he was like, no, in my TOS, I said anything that I feel like is political related, taking it off the website. And he's been sticking to that and taking stuff down. And I would imagine, as he's saying, that stuff takes its toll over time. The stress of the job has been a regular source of anxiety and stress-related health issues. I realized that I have been burning out and this started to have an impact on my staff and Nexus Mods as a whole. He's taking account. He's saying, hey, stuff ain't been going on so well behind the scenes. It's my fault. And yeah, when you're CEO of a company, man or woman, if anything goes wrong at the company, even if it's not your fault, people are going to hold it to you. If one of your employees just decides to say, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna go outside in the Nexus Mod shirt and I'm gonna just stab somebody, people aren't gonna go, oh, this individual went out and stabbed somebody. No, they're gonna say Nexus Mods employee. And I'm not saying nothing like that has happened. I'm just giving you an extremely vague, over-exaggerated example so you can understand what I mean. It's good that he's taking accountability because a lot of leadership in a lot of places don't take accountability. Places like EA. Excuse me, I had a cough right there. People like Evil Ass fucking Incorporated, EA. And stress-related health issues, blah, blah, blah. I read that part. And Nexus Mods as a whole. So I firmly believe that the best thing for the futures of Nexus Mods is for me to step aside and bring in new leadership to steer the business forward and with renewed energy to make Nexus Mods the modding community we all truly deserve. One of the biggest reasons I've been doing this for so long is that I've never felt that I truly found someone who really gets the modding community the way I do. The thing about mindsets like that is it's a good thing when you have your youth. Time waits for no man. I wish I would have saved it, but there's a picture where somebody drew one of the 4 horsemen of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, and it was basically a picture of the death horsemen, and they were standing beside their horsemen beside their horse as it was eating grass with their weapon on the ground, just petting the horse on his head. And it was supposed to symbolize that death don't need to rush up to catch with you like something like famine or pestilence. Death gonna come eventually. And I say that to say not so much that he gotta worry about dying, but I say it more to say like, yo, eventually time catches up to you. So wanting to find a successor that's perfect is cool when you young and you got time to find a successor. But when you start getting to that age to where, like he said, you start getting stressed, you start having kids, you got to deal with wife, pets, general life responsibilities, other hobbies. Because once something becomes a job, you're going to want to do other things. Since you get paid to have fun, there's going to be other things you want to do to have fun. So you're going to gain and have new hobbies. It's just going to happen over time. That's why he's mentioning burning out and whatnot. When are you going to get time to do those hobbies if you're focused on your business all the time? Which, I mean, yes, you do need to focus on your business at some point, but you get my point. And if you don't, I don't know, bro. Time waits for no man. Finding a new owner who would be able to understand and respect the myriad of intricacies of both Nexus Mods as a business and the wider modding community was essential. After months of meetings, face-to-face talks, and a whole lot of soul searching, I'm thrilled to say that I truly believe I found the exact right people for the task. Translation, what this sounds like to me is Tom was getting ready to beat my ass, and I just found the next best person I could find. Not the best, but the good enough. So yes, the ownership of NEXUS Mods has changed hands, but I want to be clear. This isn't some corporate exit or a backroom deal. This is me doing something I probably should have done years ago. Taking care of myself. Reclaiming some headspace. Hey, yo. And finally letting go. Started a sentence off with a conjunction. Dear God. I hate it when all these people that went to school for 4 and 6 years, went to school to get degrees in journalism, start sentences off with conjunctions. Stop that. I don't care if it's a quote and it sounds like he started the sentence off with and. He did it. Finally letting go of the idea that I have to do everything and be responsible for everything myself. Well, you could tell he's used to taking accountability, because this part right here, yeah, that's a very accountable thing to say. Like, hey, bro, I don't feel like I'm steering the ship good, so I'd rather die a hero, go exit the business a hero, than die a villain making fucked up decisions, because I'm not the one who should be here making any of these decisions. Scott adds that while he may be the owner, today's Nexus Mods is comprised of 40 incredible... Damn, that website's ran by 40 people? I thought it'd be more like 100. That's still a smaller team, though. Incredibly dedicated people. He won't be completely disappearing from the spotlight either. Although he may no longer be the owner of Nexus Mods, he'll be on the forums and working with the team to help the site's overall direction. So basically, he did the same thing Linus Tech Tips did. He basically said, in terms of being the exact leader of this company, I'm not going to do that. But because I built this company from the ground up, and, you know, I still have some tenure and I still have love and care for the field, I just don't have the grit to be the one steering the ship and making the leadership decisions all the time. I'm gonna let somebody else do that. And when it comes to the creative stuff, the stuff I want to do, I'm gonna do that. But when it comes to the boring administrative stuff, leave that to somebody who takes a passion or who has the grit to do that. But some people genuinely have a passion for that, and some people just do it because they're in the business from family or whatever. But as for the new owners, there's no explicit confirmation of who the fuck it is, but he says that we'll be seeing more of those people who've come on board to lead this next chapter. So as someone, I won't say who frequents, but who uses Nexus Mods enough to notice if the site changes significantly, we'll see. Is this something where he's just letting people know what's going on so nobody gets blindsided by the fuck yous that's about to happen? Or is this a case of, like he said, hey, I'm just not the guy to steer this ship the way it needs to go, and this person is, so I'm gonna let them do it and I'm gonna step back? We'll see. We'll see. Now, for those of you who didn't know, Gooner Game of the Year, Stellar Blade, has came to digital platforms. And shocker, newsflash, guys. This may seem a little crazy. It may seem a little crazy what I'm about to say. But people who are playing Stellar Blade on PC made mods to it. And according to the PC Gamer, 41% of those mods are freaky nigga mods. 41%. Now when I saw this headline, I said 41? I said this gotta be them just saying an approximation or something like that. Because there's no way it's as low as 41. Have you seen Shift Up's prior games? Like NEXUS and stuff like that. They are Gooner game professionals. There's no way it's only 41%. But I wanted to go through this article a little bit and see. Well, now that Butt is on PC, well, Butt been on PC. Internet porn been around for years, my boy. I don't know where the fuck you been. And you know what that means, mods. If I were to, you could have started this sentence off with, if I were to make a book right now, and you didn't need the and, starting sentences off with a conjunction. Bro, how do y'all be writing for these websites and doing this? When I wrote for websites, I knew this, and I don't even have a degree in journalism, bro. If I were to make a book right now on how many of those mods somehow made Stellar Blade even more NSFW than it is out of the box, I suspect I wouldn't make very much money. Not least because you've probably all read the headline. By intense scientific calculus, fully 96 of the 243 mods, 41% that currently exist for Stellar Blade are marked as adult. And frankly, some of the ones that aren't marked as adult are probably not safe for work. How do you feel about feed hands? What? Would you discuss that with your grandparents over Christmas dinner? Well, most of them passed away, so no, I wouldn't explain this to my Trinidadian grandfather who doesn't even believe in playing good video games. The majority are, well, what you expect. Various ways to make Eve and other women in the game various levels of nude. Really? Really? People make goon the fuck out mods on the Gooner game? I don't even know why I read this far into the fucking article, to be real with you. An article I'm gonna read a little bit into though. Damn, I forgot about how this website, Push Square and the Xbox website, don't render properly. But I'm gonna highlight it. Actually, I don't need to highlight it. Y'all can see the picture. Mind's Eye is looking more and more spooky every time I talk about Mind's Eye. Mind's Eye fucking sucks apparently. Now, usually when a game comes out and everybody punch on a game, they usually say this game is dog shit for views. But as I showed you in my last stream, where I had to be fair and say I was wrong on saying this game looked good. No, I haven't seen that. With something like Cyberpunk, where I watched the development of that game from like around its start, basically through E3 to the year of release, I knew that Cyberpunk at least was a good idea that's been worked on for a very long time that would be well fleshed out. The only thing that was ever wrong with Cyberpunk when it first came out was that on a technological level, the game was hard to run on a technological level. It was never a bad game in terms of core gameplay systems. Now I understand there's more like some things that people didn't like in terms of preference, as in like the way that the shooting worked. A lot of people didn't in particular enjoy it. But what I can say is that what was there did work very well and was very, very cool. Mind's Eye, the details I've been hearing about that game, stay away from this game like the plague. I wouldn't play this game unless you get it for like $10 on a Steam deal or like 2-3 months down the line when it's on PlayStation Plus for free. This one I wanted to watch because As a residential Fallout lore nerd, this just seems like a topic that's interesting.
Always
Did it
be
have
a
background music?
possibility. However, kind of a hallmark of Fallout is that.
Okay, hold on.
I think that could always be a possibility.
Yeah, everything's always a possibility, but will it happen? That's my question.
However, kind of a hallmark of Fallout is that sense of Americana, right? So you have that 1950s retro futuristic feel wrapped up in Americana. So it's, you know, trying to get that same kind of tone from other locations could be difficult.
That's true, because different cultures throughout different points of time, even throughout the same points of time in a time period, are drastically different. And a big part of what makes Fallout is the American part of it, where it's like, and like, I know there's gonna be some Fallout nerd coming from out the bushes having a seizure. Fallout wasn't originally just making fun of capitalism. But shut the fuck up. That's what it grew into. But part of Fallout, like he said, is the American sense of it, making fun of, I don't want to say uniquely American concepts, but like concepts that are hyper highlighted in American culture, like capitalistic greed, keeping up with the Joneses, the achievement of the American dream by any means necessary. Every time you get something, you got to go bigger and outshine your neighbor. The fact that we take a lot of stuff for granted, like the fact that we have one of the most highest valued dollars in the world at any given time in history, damn near since our inception, and we're a very young country. Keep in mind, America is less than like 1,000 years old. Most of these other countries, like Europe and stuff like that, are thousands of years old. America just came about in the 1700s. That's not that long ago in terms of world history. So like him saying that I feel like does have some sense of truth with that. But like, you would legitimately have to get people from other cultures, and I don't know if Fallout's core feel would translate over well to every other culture. While it would be cool to see, I think it would be more cooler to see as a fan thing. And that's why I would love to see Nueva Mexico be worked on.
Possible, but yeah, I don't know. What were your thoughts on that, Bill?
Yeah, who knows, to be honest, but I would say, you know, for us, I think the one special thing about Fallout is that it's being told again from our lens, you know, from our perspective, and I think there's a bit of mystery about what is going on around the world, but I think we're pretty good on keeping that mystery alive. You know, people want to create their own stories about what happened, you know, and I think that's really
76.
So I think
yeah, like I mentioned, there's a lot of mods and stuff like that, like Fallout London and Fallout Nueva Mexicana or Mexico or whatever the fuck it was called. No, it was Nueva Mexico. Stuff like that is interesting, and I think it would be better done by fans who are like, okay, so there's like this phenomenon, because I feel like I have to explain something else to get you to understand this idea. So when you're used to seeing two different cultures, you have a unique ability to translate things. So for example, if I grew up in Mexico learning Mexican Spanish, then I came to America, learned English, and then learned American Spanish. Technically, I only know two different languages, Spanish and English, but I understand three different cultures. Excuse me. I understand American culture, American Spanish culture, and Mexican Spanish culture. Those are three distinctly different cultures, and being that I have an intimate understanding with all three of them in my own various ways, I uniquely have the ability to translate those things in ways that other people wouldn't be able to. Now, to round that back into how that relates to Fallout, there are certain people who have like Mexican experiences, who have London experiences, that also understand the American experience and the American ways of Fallout, that can properly translate it better than Bethesda themselves may be able to, because they may not have enough staff on hand and like writing positions and stuff like that truly have a very well thought out that have a very thorough, I'm not able to find the words, but they have a well enough understanding to be able to do it properly and give it justice to be a reflection of what was going on that time, but what we would see if we were looking at it through their lens versus if we were looking at it through the American lens. Because the way Fallout will play out in a place like Brazil will be very different from Cuba. Two places that have similar cultures, but still very different aspects of their culture and very different things because they're two separate places. You know, so it's one of those things where it's like, it could be interesting, but Bethesda may just realize, hey, we're not equipped for that. They are, so we'll let them make the mods, we'll let the fans enjoy those mods, and we'll just not take them down.
A lot of the focus, even going forward, will still be on that heavy Americana, patriotic, you know, feel of America, and that's where things will probably continue.
I think that could always.
I think that's fair. I think that's fair. I think it's fair for leadership to be able to admit their weaknesses. That's kind of the theme of this video. To admit their weaknesses and say, hey, this is where I'm strong at, this is where I'm weak at. I respect that. I respect that. Moving on. I was gonna read into this, but I'm tired of kicking Marathon Wilders down. I want to talk about a little bit of Gears of War before I wrap this up. I wish I could have played this. I wish I could have played this Gears of War Reloaded beta. I tried to load into the beta 3 times on 2 different days. Couldn't do it. I've seen a couple clips of people online playing Gears of War beta, Reloaded beta. I wish I could have enjoyed it. I wanted to rev up a Lancer with a PS5 controller, but digress. I do. Gears of War Reloaded marks yet another former Xbox exclusive. Blah blah blah. What's the feature? The PlayStation debut confirms at least one half of a rumor earlier this year. Halo and Gears were coming to PlayStation 5. While the jury is still out on blah blah blah. According to Igan, pre-orders for Gears of War Reloaded physical copies are exclusive to PS5. What do you mean physical copies of an Xbox game can only be brought for PlayStation? I know there's a neckbeard loser fighting a console war in 2025 like a loser that has an allergic reaction and a seizure anytime you show him a job application, just punching the air saying, I'm sick of this shit, seeing this headline. What do you mean they're only releasing Gears of War 1 on PS5 in 2025? If 10 years ago you would have said that sentence to me, I would have thought you were lying. What the fuck? Nah, bro, what? To be fair, I think the reason why they're doing this is because the other Gears of War remaster, if you have that, you automatically get upgraded to Gears of War Reloaded for free with crossplay, provided you have a Microsoft account. But still, this is a crazy sentence that could come out of my mouth, bro. Let's keep reading. I kind of think that's a pretty cut and dry headline. I'm not gonna lie, I don't really think I need to read further. That being said, for those of you new to this stream, I'm about to go play the setup to go play the Outer Wilds. All you have to do is reload your tab to stay in if you are live on the Twitch stream. Speaking of the Twitch stream, twitch.tv/QaptainSlander. I stream I'm doing like gaming news stuff like this a little bit less because not every day there's a good amount of news, so I don't want to just be sitting here making videos and I'm just talking about a bunch of nothing burger ass articles. But I stream every day, bro. Every weekday. Follow me. Like I said, I'm setting up my stream. I'm playing through the Outer Worlds. We are on day 6. Outer Worlds 2 prep. Go.